look at chat. I haven't started recording on Audacity. So basically, I have, you don't hear anything? Oh, this is great. Okay, you don't hear it. This is awesome. Okay, so all my worries are for naught. Oh, a little bit. Shut up, Rocket Soup. So there's an NVIDIA plugin that you can actually use. My friend Gary Whitta uses it. And if you're talking, it will take out all background noise. So it's very faint. It's fine. Xanthari asked, do I prefer Divinity or Pillars of Eternity? Divinity, of course, because it's funny. So I'm not going to look at you guys. I'm going to record. I have questions. I'm using StreamYard to broadcast because I could do these little logos because I wasn't professional enough to set up scenes on XSplit. And then I'm using Audacity to record. So anyway, this will be one of these, those get to watch for 5 minutes and go to bed things. Are you sleeping, Renatomy? Zazu's here. Oh my gosh, how wonderful. Well, I wanted to add a daytime stream and I was like, oh, I'll do 2 for 1. But I got really, okay. So anyway, I'm going to start recording because I'm talking to you like I'm doing a podcast right now and whatever. Okay, recording. And we're going to start the podcast. Felicitations. It is me, Felicia Day, and this is my podcast. It is podcast number 47, and my voice broke when I said felicitations. So I don't even know what to tell you guys. It is a little bit unnerving to have a camera on me right now because I am live streaming this podcast on Twitch. So it is 2 p.m. Well, what is it? I was supposed to start at 2 p.m. It is 4:20 right now, 4:18. And I neglected to start on time because I have construction going on in my backyard. And it is just one of those days where everything goes wrong. I have to tell you, I'm super annoyed inside. I'm sweating. Everybody who's watching me can see that I'm very moist in the face. Moist. And it's okay because it's 112 in this room and it's not made for recording. And there are saws going on outside. But I'm here. I am gung-ho to try this experiment because I think it might be fun to like enhance the podcast to do it live. Also, I love streaming on Twitch, and then I don't want to do extra work to do the podcast. So I think we could get the best of all worlds here if I just do this setup. Although, like I said, I didn't research this until 15 minutes before I was supposed to go live. So that's semi-professional. But considering the podcast has been in beta for 3 years, I wouldn't say this is a total professional setup anyway. I'm using the jankiest overlays. It's like, it might as well be Comic Sans. So anybody who's watching this live is probably thinking, wow, you really went all out. There's banging in the background because of my construction, which thank God has picked up again. They are doing waterproofing on the outside and they're also doing all the finishing woodwork. So like the underside, I guess it's called a soffit, which is something I didn't know what was the deal. I didn't know what a soffit was. And now I feel like I'm a professional builder. So it's all great. There's some kind of compressor, nail gun. It's all good. It's been 2.5 hours since I was like, let's just do it. It's called a soffit. So anyway, the last 2 weeks has been a little bit of a blur. As you guys know, I do bi-weekly podcasts, which to me, when I hear bi-weekly, I think 2 times a week, but bi-weekly is every 2 weeks, which doesn't make any sense because what's 2 times a week? 2 weekly? I don't know. So it's dumb. I want to give a shout out to Sean Sandalooky who is my mod for the podcast and who does amazing notes on every podcast, which I refer to every week because I want to make sure A, I didn't already tell the story that I was going to tell from the week before, and B, I'm like, what was that book that I read last year? And it was about a thing. Oh, Sean did it all. So if you go to Felicitations, felicitations.fandom.com, there's an amazing compilation of everything I've ever done in a podcast form. And it's so wonderful. You can look up books. You can look up people I've mentioned. You can look up places I've traveled, recipes. We'll talk about all of it later, but TV shows I watch. But it's wonderful. It's the most comprehensive thing. And I really, really appreciate it. He is a baller, quote unquote baller. Also, I just want to give a shout out to my book. If nobody has picked up my book lately, Embrace Your Weird is my creativity book. And since quarantine will never end, I think that everybody may have a little bit more bandwidth to do all the crazy exercises in there. It's a very interactive book. And I think that a lot of people who've done it during quarantine is like, this is the perfect time for me to sort of reconfigure my life and add more creativity in it and just do fun things. So FeliciaDayBook.com. I actually have some overlays that I want to show the chat. Yeah, I did this. This is professional. And it's just spelled out felicitations.fandom.com and Felicia Day book. Because I'm so incredible. I'm pleasing everybody now. There's like an audience here, an audience there. Such a tech guru I am. So anyway, I am so happy to just be trying this experiment, because to be honest with you, the last 2 weeks have been a little bit of a suckage. I did have a birthday, so that was good. But it was one of those birthdays where I was like, oh, midweek the week before, oh, it's my birthday. All right. I had nothing. I wasn't enthusiastic about it. I was like, just completely apathetic, to be honest with you. And then my birthday got there, and all day, and this is what I do every New Year's Eve too. I basically don't do any plans because I'm pissed off. Okay, I'm pissed off. This is not what I do on Valentine's Day, because I do the same thing on Valentine's Day, but then when Valentine's Day gets there, I'm like, screw this holiday, and I'm super self-righteous about not doing anything romantic. That's not the case with New Year's Eve and my birthday. So my birthday and New Year's Eve especially, I deliberately don't plan anything. And then the whole day I'm FOMOing. I'm just like, oh, that person's in Bali, and this person's going to a midnight dance, and that person's doing, and then I just sit there and be pissy, and then I go to sleep at 10:30 deliberately, and I'm angry. I angry sleep. So the same thing with and also we have quarantine on top of this, right? So like in a perfect world, I would have just gone out of town. I would have gone out of town, and I would have just been like, oh, just overnight somewhere, Ojai or Malibu or somewhere like within driving distance, because I do have a 3-year-old, and so the romance is gone, the exploration is gone. We just have to accommodate her, which is fine, totally fine. So, but at the same time, we can't do that at quarantine. We can't even go to a nice dinner, which is probably what I would have done. So what I did is I didn't plan, and I was like, don't get me anything. I told everybody, don't get anything. And then of course, when my birthday comes, there's an airplane. God, it's fine. One day I'll have a studio. So then my birthday is there, and I'm pissed off the whole day. And Calliope has like several poops, which I'm like, just poop once a day, okay? And she was really, and you know, she's a 3-year-old. She doesn't really know it's a special day for mama, so she's ripping my presents open. She gets presents on my birthday because, you know, you don't want her to feel left out. She eats my tater tots. And then she didn't like the frosting. Well, she put way too many sprinkles on my cake. And I don't really like sprinkles, but like, I'm not going to tell a 3-year-old she can't sprinkle my birthday cake. So then I was just totally pissed, and not pissed at my child, but just like sulky. And then I got my dad called me, and then one of my friends, Ryko, called me. That's it. I got like, and then on top of that, this is not, I didn't even have time for this kind of rant, but the thing about it is that I'm getting distracted by chat too. I'm going to get rid of chat. You guys are deliberately trying to distract me. Goodbye. I'm covering you up, y'all. Also, I got so many texts, and like, that makes me feel loved. Okay. But they were like 80 texts from a lot of people. It was like quarantine was like, I'm bored. I'm just going to, and one time I got her phone number. I'm just going to, and then I feel obligated to answer every single person. Thank you. You know, like, and not make it be brief, because I don't want to be a jerk, even though I'm just like spending an hour, like the hour that I wanted to spend with my daughter, I'm spending on my phone texting people back. Thank you from this greeting person I worked with 5 years ago. You know, like, I don't mean to be a jerk, because I am being a jerk right now. I am totally aware of that. I'm being a jerk. So I don't know. Then the next day, so it was a fine birthday. I ordered amazing pizza. It wasn't even a fancy dinner, but it was great pizza. So I got pizza, and I got a cake made for me. Calliope and my partner made me a cake. So listen, I have nothing to complain about. I got a couple of nice gifts, but it was like clearly not the extravaganza that anybody could have. I mean, I do a lot of cameos, you know, for people's birthdays. And I'm like, it made me feel like, oh, I wish somebody had gotten me a cameo for of somebody I knew. That would be really awkward, wouldn't it? Like a Misha Collins cameo. Hey, Felicia Day, whatever. Anyway, so the next day, all I do is play sad sack and about my birthday. And I'm so good at being passive aggressive though. I really am. I'm like an A passive aggressive player. And so, I was just like, oh yeah, it was a nice text you gave me. Didn't do anything. I'm in a bad mood. And then I had other friends who planned on doing something with me the next weekend. I was just like, guys, I can't do it. I'm just like not feeling it. I'm really feeling angry about my birthday. And then of course, what happens? Yesterday, July 8th, I got 5 birthday gifts. So I got my friend Marissa gave me a kbbqkit.com, which is like a whole Korean barbecue thing that came in a huge box, and it had all the appetizers in it and some amazing meat. And I was like, whoa, whoa. And then somebody sent me flowers, and then I got a box of cookies, and then my other friends sent me adorable little notebooks. So like I had my birthday basically yesterday, which I'm recording this on the 8th, 9th, I don't know, whatever. It's a day. Whatever yesterday was, it was my birthday. So that kind of made the whole 2 weeks worth it, because it felt like the 2 weeks didn't really pass. Also, I will say we did do a guild one shot the night before my birthday, because I didn't want to stream on my birthday, because I felt obligated to go to sleep with my baby on my birthday. And then I should have just reversed that, because I think just streaming would have been fun. And it was with Will Wheaton. He did a little guest star. We were missing Jeff Lewis, but we had an amazing time. It was so fun. And that was really my birthday. So I think my birthday felt like non-birthday because of that. And why am I going on about this? I'm really, really, today was just really, okay, I'll tell you guys what happened that really not only is there a lot of banging out here, and I didn't understand what I was doing. And so I had to learn a lot of tech, which is fun. I love learning tech to set this podcast/stream thing up. But Calliope got this rubbery light up ring. Okay. And so it was really cute. And I pick it up within 10 minutes of it being given to her, and I broke it. And any parent who knows that they break their own child's I mean, it's bad enough when she breaks something, but I break something, it's like the ultimate betrayal. It's like I kicked her in the face or something. I mean, I never would do that, but I did break her gummy ring. And so I tried everything to get it. I touched it very lightly. I was like, oh, you need to turn the light off. It was like a ring that you know, it was like a Green Lantern ring, except not. It was just like a gummy ring. It was like a flexible plastic ring with like an LED thing in it. And I touched it very lightly to turn it off so the battery wouldn't let out. And then, you know, that sort of thing in your gut, you're like, oh no. Because she looked at me and she had like, her mouth was like half a spoon, half in her mouth of like beans and rice for lunch. And she was like, did you just break my ring? And it was a little bit of a death stare, followed by hysterics. So I had to drive across town, and she insisted on going with me. She could have stayed at home, but she insisted. So I went to the lighting store and I got 4 rings. And of course they didn't have pink. They only had blue and white. And that was, but you know, she was happy enough. So I felt good about myself, but it was just like, oh, I mean, of all the people to break a ring, why am I talking about this? This isn't even, okay. Let's see. Oh, so on top of that, I do in the kid area, which I'm sure people are like, blah, 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 child, you reproduce, blah, blah, blah. My baby started preschool this week. She did summer school, and it would be cool, except it's on Zoom. And I detest Zoom meetings because I feel like I'm a good Zoom meter, but I've been on so many awkward Zoom meeting calls where people are clearly on vacation, and like, I don't expect people to look amazing, but don't show me a palm tree behind you. Don't show me that you're having a better time than me while we're on this Zoom call, okay? Put yourself against a white, terrible, desaturated background, all right? I don't want you to rub it in my face that you're having a wonderful time while kind of pretending to do work. So I've had 3 of them where people are obviously in Costa Rica or just in Malibu. And I'm just like, I was like, did you give me a birthday present? No, you didn't. So go to hell. So then having a bunch of preschoolers on Zoom, first of all, the attention span is she's supposed to be there 3 hours a day. They could barely do 45 minutes. And then it's fun to watch the other kids. Like some of them are super like standing there up straight, like totally into it. And I'm like, that has to be a 4-year-old. That has to be it's a 4-year-old, right? And then of course, maybe it was a 3-year-old. And I feel like, why isn't my child just sitting there watching the Zoom? Well, she doesn't really watch screens and she's not used to this. So, and I'm like, just let your daughter be who she is. Let her be who she is. Don't compare her to that kid who's doing like watercolor and being very attentive. Like, don't do it. She's a very kinetic learner. She likes to move. She gets bored easily. Like, that's just who she is. And don't force her to do school or she'll hate it. And then that's like the antithesis of every one of my impulses, because quite frankly, I am the opposite of my daughter. She is like all balls all the time. And I'm like, can I help you? Can I apologize for existing? Like, we are so opposite. I feel like, am I ruining her life because I'm not giving her more discipline or letting her be exactly who she is? No. So anyway, also just watching other children on the screen, just trying to get through 45 minutes, it's kind of disaster. The good thing is a couple times a week they have movement class and they have like music. So those are okay. So that's fine. Anyway, it's fine. So the reason why I even brought that up was that I did a lot of research, because basically at this point in quarantine, we've done it all in the house. And I'm just like buying things to get her involved in stuff, to just not, because she gets super bored all the time. So she loves animals, and she loves Halloween, and she loves dinosaurs. So those are her like 3 amazing things. So I did tweet last week asking about Raspberry Pi, which is, Raspberry Pi is like this little, it's a tiny dual display sort of desktop computer that you can build yourself. And it's super small and it's really cool. And I've been wanting to do it myself, to be honest with you. And so I tweeted, hey, can you guys tell me if a 3-year-old would be okay with Raspberry Pi? And I got so much good feedback that I got a list of really awesome things that I don't know if you guys would be interested in them, but I wanted to share the list that I got together. Especially, I think maybe 3 is like on the young side for a lot of these things. But if you have older kids, and a lot of them are not too expensive, they could be really cool things to add to your kids' summer collection to get them a little bit active, because we're all just going crazy with our children locked in our houses, right? Okay, so these are the things I wanted to give, and I don't know where Sean's going to put it in the wiki, but God bless you, Sean. Makedo is a thing that I really thought was cool. It's Mekedo, and it's like they're little cardboard attachments. So basically they're screws for taking cardboard and cutting it into things and then making things from the cardboard. So I think it's super cool, because you could go do anything from wings to building a robot to building a huge fort. And it's very low tech and very cheap. And I thought it was really, really cool that you could do building with that, because I want to encourage her to do programming. And I feel like some people just, maybe it's not good to give a kid, first of all, it's not good to give a kid something that they can't do themselves, really. But, I violate that all the time with Lego sets. But at the same time, also, you want to do something that, they're not going to get bored after 5 seconds. And I think that this would be cool, because we could build something together. Okay, the other thing is coding critters. And they're small little cute animals that they could program. And when I saw them, I was like, oh, this is in her wheelhouse. She's not going to engage with something that looks like a circuit board, but she will engage with a bunny that you can make go eat a carrot. So those are the 2 that I immediately ordered. And then there was one called Chibitronics that I totally ordered myself, because they're circuit stickers, and they're other tools for paper circuits. So basically, you can draw and create things that go on paper. So you can make your own greeting cards. You can make like a light up framed picture. It's so cool, you guys. So that's one thing I actually just want to order for myself. Hey, mama has to have a good time too, right? Anyway, next were a couple of things in a row. Bristlebots, which was like a little toothbrush robot that you can program to walk around. Squishy circuits was a really cool thing, because basically it's conductive Play-Doh. So you can make, it's Play-Doh, and then you plug in a light and a power into it. And basically you can make lights light up on a little giraffe that you sculpted out of clay. And I thought that was kind of cool, because it's sculpting combined with it, because she's not going to be into just, like I said, a circuit board, which the snap circuits thing was very recommended to me. But I think when she's like 6 or 8 or even 10, the snap circuits will be super cool. And it's more, engineering and stuff like that, but super cool. So Bristlebots, squishy circuits, snap circuits were 3. And then there were 2 other things that were more expensive that I didn't get because they were kind of an investment. But one of them is Cubetto, and Cubetto, and it's a little wooden programmable robot. So basically you could program the robot to go forward and side and all that stuff. And it's really cute. And I think in a couple years she might be into it. It's very like Montessori does circuitry. And since I'm a person who really does like Montessori stuff and Rye stuff, very natural stuff, I was attracted to that. And then there's this other thing called Osmo that you can hook up to your iPad. And it's really cool because it has a little pad that you put shapes on. So it asks you, like the iPad will ask you, hey, do a B. And then you take little pieces of plastic and the kid will lay them down and actually spell out a B. And I thought I think it was really cool. So I actually might get that one. So those are the things. I didn't buy all of them, of course, but they're just on a wish list that I shared with my family. So please buy these versus like sending her another thing that, that I'm going to throw away afterwards, because I'm super specific about the things I'll let her play with. Okay. Whatever. It's not like I'm not giving her Disney things, except Sleeping Beauty and Snow White are off the table. Oh, also you can go to insectlore.com and buy butterfly larva and ladybug larva. I don't know, if you're an adult, get it. Who doesn't want larva? All right, I'm moving on. So like I said, my construction is picking up. I'm not going to have an office for about a month or two, but at least I can kind of think about having an office again, which would be really nice because I'll have a place to stream from that's a little more professional. The sound will be better. I'll be able to do professional voiceover. I'll be able to maybe do auditions, although I don't really have a representative right now, but there's no point in doing it because what are we going to film? Nobody is allowed to film right now. Amy Okuda and I have been streaming a couple times a week. So if you guys on the podcast side want to come over, it's really fun. 7:30 on Tuesday, Fridays, Sundays. We have been streaming Terraria, which is a really fun game. It's kind of like a sandbox sort of Minecraft game, which we are definitely going to try Minecraft. So basically we've lined up Raft, which is another game that we're going to be on a raft and we're trying to survive, and there's sharks and we build our little raft. This looks really fun. It's a multiplayer game too. And then we're going to probably move to Minecraft because neither of us have really played it ever. And I think that since we can have animals on it, both of us are going to like it. I guess that's where Calliope gets it. I just want a virtual sheep. Also, I found this place you can rent goats to come to your house. So that's going to be a treat when I actually get a fenced-in yard again. Let's see. What else I'm going to talk about here? Boy, time is going fast. The only other thing that was a kind of a highlight for me the last couple of weeks was that I found, two things. First of all, I was on a vocal recording thing for a podcast and I found out about this Enneagram stuff. Have you guys heard of this? Have you? Okay, wait. Before I do that, if you guys want to watch the old guild streams, by the way, we're going to be doing 4 more episodes live streamed of D&D with the guild. July 26th through, I believe, August 16th. So we'll be doing another 4 arc. We don't have a sponsor this time, so we'll have some merch and other ways to support the cast. That'll be great if you guys want to do it. If not, that's fine. Come watch for free. It's totally fine. And you can always watch our VODs either on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/FeliciaDay, or on youtube.com/watchtheguild. I recently uploaded I'm the One That's Cool up there and the J. Michael Adler commercial that everyone loves to the Watch the Guild channel because I'm the One That's Cool has not been up on the internet for like 5 years. So it was sort of a copyright thing between Geek and Sundry, and after I left, they took it down. And so I put it back up for the world to enjoy. And it was such a blast watching it. I was just like, oh my God, I used to make videos. Very weird. I hope you hear that they're still working. Thank God they're still working. And the other thing I learned was that this is not, I'm putting a Chiron up of something that does not spelled right. I didn't even proof check it. Okay. It's called an Enneagram. Now it is bull crap. I will let you know it's basically a numerology kind of thing. So they have people and they're either a 1 through a 9. Okay. Their personality, it's a personality test you take. And it seems like a cult, but maybe not. I don't know. But it's super popular right now amongst people in Los Angeles. So I was on this voice call and everyone's like, oh yeah, Enneagrams or Enneagrams. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Enneagrams. And I was like, what? Why does everybody know about this? I used to be the master of bogus horoscope stuff, right? When I was a kid, I even wrote in my book, my memoir about it. It's Enneagram. Okay. I did actually look at chat for someone to actually, okay, I'll edit it. Okay. I can't, I'm embarrassed that I misspelled something. Okay. There. Okay. That's what you get. That's all you get. Did I spell it right? I don't care. So anyway, it's bogus, but at the same time, I love personality tests. So I took it and I want to I don't believe any of it. Okay. But I want to share what I was because it is kind of creepy how I answered the questions and they pegged me so very well. Okay. So I turned out to be, you could be 1 through a 9. All right. And I didn't really look at anybody else's numbers. So I invite you to look it up. Don't pay for anything, please. It's bogus. And it was probably made by a cult member. But whatever, I'm even taking it off. So I don't want to advertise something bogus, but there are a lot of free tests on the internet. And if you're bored and you don't get any magazine subscriptions where you could do personality tests, just go ahead and do it. Okay. So I am a 4. And if anybody knows me, they're like, oh, so what's creepy is how very accurate this is. So 4s are self-aware, sensitive, and reserved. They're emotionally honest, creative, and personal, but can also be moody and self-conscious. They also can be disdainful and exempt from the ordinary ways of life. They typically have problems with melancholy, self-indulgence, self-pity, but at their best, they're inspired and highly creative, and they're able to renew themselves and transform their experience. I was like, oh. And evidently 4s are the rarest, which plays into a 4 being proud of being the rarest, because basically 4s always feel different from other people and they don't really want to be alone, even though they set themselves apart. I'm like, whoa, don't at me, bro. Okay. It was crazy how accurate this is. The 4's mantra becomes, I am myself. Nobody understands me. I am different and special, while they secretly wish they could enjoy the easiness and confidence other people seem to enjoy. All right, I'm not endorsing this. I think it's bull. But at the same time, whoa, insight, dude. 4s typically have problems with negative self-images and chronic low self-esteem. Hey, they attempt to compensate for this by creating a fantasy self, an idealized self-image, which is built up primarily in their imaginations. Hello, season 4 of The Guild, where I'm talking to Codex. Oh, no, that was season 3. Whatever. Okay, I just want to tell you that it blew my mind. And also the advice that they gave me was to accept myself for who I am, not what I think I want to be or was and that's basically something I've been actually working toward and striving toward. So here's what I tell you guys. I love tarot cards. I love the lore of it. I used to read them for myself a lot when I had to make a decision. I never thought that there was a divine hand of justice or God or whatever showing me, the 4 cups. Okay. I'm not going to believe in that. But I do think that whenever you can think about yourself from a different angle, you learn something about yourself. And that's kind of what I wanted to do in my book, Embrace Your Weird, like getting ourselves out of our heads to see ourselves in a way that adds something up to myself. And so I learned I'm never going to look at Enneagrams again. But at the same time, there were some interesting observations there that I was able to take away. So I don't know. What do you think? It's bullshit. Okay. Sorry. Any children who are listening? Okay. The last thing I want to talk about before I get into questions. Wow. I'm looking at the time just because I'm like, how long can I talk on camera? I guess it's the same length of time I can talk on the podcast. You guys are getting as much as this is going on. And I had a decaf latte, which made me a lot more energetic. Also, I'm sweating. So I'm pitting a little bit, but you guys can't smell me. I just smell, but you can hear me smell myself. Okay, the last thing I want to do is talking some Animal Crossing because, guys, I don't know what to tell you. I'm addicted, and I've struggled the last couple weeks to understand if I am addicted or if I'm using it as an escape, and is it destructive? Because overall, I don't really have a lot of dreams right now for the future. I'm not like, wow, I can't wait to, one day write a feature or one day finish this book or whatever. So I'm kind of, I was really super motivated. And basically I had a tweet that I did last week that summarizes my state of being right now. This is my Twitter. Thinking back to the first days of quarantine when I started learning the mandolin, conjugating verbs in Spanish, and was watching Yale lectures on ancient Greek history. Last week's accomplishments, I traded 2 villagers off my Animal Crossing island because they were quote unquote uggos, unquote. I said unquote twice. So anyway, and that really is it. To be honest with you, I am putting a lot of energy into Animal Crossing, and yet I'm really enjoying myself. And I'm not like, I've only gone through a couple days where I'm like, I can't, and I don't play it before I go to sleep because it does turn on sort of like an OCD part of my brain where I'm like, I gotta keep decorating. But it is just so, like the night of my birthday, I played it and I just was so calm after I just, did some moving of plants, and I got the perfect chair for this islander. But it is, and if you're not familiar with Animal Crossing, basically you're a person, you have an avatar, and you're on a little island, and you just decorate it. And you do little tasks like cleaning up after trees and digging rocks, and you craft things. And then every day, it's a real-time game. So every day, I talked about this last time, but I'm just repeating myself for anybody who doesn't know about it. Every day, there's something new. And I think that's the attraction. First of all, I haven't been shopping for myself, for my body, my physical body in months. But in Animal Crossing, I go shopping every day. And I spend as much money as I want. I buy whatever shoes I want. I buy whatever hat I want. It's wonderful. Every day in the Nook shop, there's something new there. And they only allow you to buy 5 things a day, which pisses me off. But at the same time, it forces me to be in the moment, which goes back to the Enneagram thing, where it's like, just be who you are in the moment. Don't worry about who you are in the future, or where you're getting or where you were before, right? And a lot of my process the last couple of years is letting go of who I was as sort of a bigger personality on the internet and all the other thing and what people expected of me, being a CEO and being a showrunner. Like, a lot of it is letting go of what other people wanted from me and what I thought I should be doing for other people or thought I should be doing for myself, which wasn't really for myself. And then also living always with a frantic desire to get ahead in the future. And so those are the things that actually have been good for me in quarantine. But at the same time, Animal Crossing epitomizes that. It's like, no, you can't decorate this whole house right now. Sometimes I do ask my Discord, which is an amazing community, please send me, an armchair. And I cheated today even. I was like, Felicia, just wait. And I was like, I just want to finish the Tiki Bar today. So I did get to, and I want to thank Miko for sending me that, and NPC. Shout out to NPC. I got a couple of other things. So I'm trying to stop myself from doing that. But at the same time, every day I wake up and I go outside on my little island and I have something new there. Is that a bad thing? It's not like, and it is like cutting into my productivity, but what's the point of productivity right now? So I'm struggling a little bit. And that's why I kind of forced myself to, okay, start streaming your podcast, because at least you'll be learning something new. So I had to learn something new today. Hey, I learned how to use a microphone and Audacity and all these things at the same time. But at the same time, I got way too fixated on the Islanders. So you have 10 Islanders and they're little cute little characters that, this is a baby game, by the way. This is probably made for 12-year-olds max, okay? And I'm an adult woman and I'm not ashamed of it. But at the same place, and at the same time, I'm just like, why are you obsessed with having, a monkey on your island named Sherry who you hate? Why are you trying to hit her with a net every time you see her? And I'm like, we got to get rid of this woman. So I finally pulled the plug on Sherry, and my friend Ryan Koppel gave me an amiibo card, which is basically a get it out of jail. Like, basically I can call somebody new to the island, to the campground, and kick them off. So, and I invited Tia, who is a little elephant who's a teapot, and she's so cute, you guys. She's white and blue and yellow, and she's got the cutest little French house. And so it takes 3 days for an amiibo to work. So I spent 3 days currying favor from Tia to seduce her to come to my island, Misfit Toys, and basically redecorating Sherry's yard and entryway to match Tia more. And the awkward thing was that Sherry was walking around the whole time watching me. And I was like, ooh, it's kind of like you're breaking up with somebody, but you don't want them to know it. So you start moving moving their stuff out to another storage unit to get ready to get rid of them. Yeah, it's not great. It wasn't great. So, but anyway, I kicked her out, and the last day of it, it's like, go say bye. I didn't say bye. And I was mean to her. And I was like, oh, I don't really like who I've become, because then Astrid, the kangaroo with the baby in her belly that she never refers to, moved out, and then I had an empty lot. So in this game, you go to little islands and you try to basically shop for friends. And so I shopped for another friend, and I got to the point where I was like, oh no, Uggo. And I'm like, is Uggo a bad word? It probably is. I shouldn't be using this word. And then I would just be swipe left, swipe left. Oh no, it's a monkey, no monkey. Swipe left. I want a hamster. Oh, ugly hamster. Swipe left. And so I'm being this ruthless, horrible person to these small, imaginary, albeit, but cute little animals. So I don't know if it's bringing out the best in me. It's fine. I revamped my island. And so basically I have people I love. I'm kind of on the fence with Cherry, but I could get rid of her. I don't know. But I have Rudy, who's a little cat who is a jock, but he's really super small. When he talks about working out, it makes me laugh. And I've decorated all their yards custom. So Ricky's yard is all workout stuff. Oh no, Rudy's yard is all workout stuff. Tia's, all her flowers match her, and I did a little tea shop for her. There are a couple that I'm going to get rid of because I just don't have sort of an angle for her. But I got this cutest I got the cutest little, and also I do this with my daughter, you know, so, and she loves it. And she even knows, she's like, oh, we went to like the Descanso Gardens, which is this beautiful botanical garden here in LA. And she said, Mama, that's a pond skater. And I was like, oh my God, this game taught her pond skater. Whoa. And we love, she goes around the museum. So basically every day we just collect fish and fossils. I talked about this last time, but just whatever, you guys, this is all I'm doing right now. So I'm talking about it more. So anyway, I wanted to share one thing because it is really sad the way that the Islanders are treated in this game. It's all in service to basically me. And I wanted to, I wrote a little thing. I wrote a little thing. Where is this? I wrote a little thing as Ketchup. Okay. So here is this. So because this is how this game is. And this is how, if I was Ketchup, I would be putting a note in a bottle. Okay. To whom it may concern, I'm Ketchup. Please help me. I'm a little duck who looks like a tomato. Don't ask me why I'm named Ketchup. 'Cause I'm a tomato. I don't know. My parents were, they were really weird. I tried to go by Apple as a teenager because, quite frankly, I look more like an apple than Ketchup, but it just pissed my mom off. Her name was Turnip, but she looks like horseradish. Anyway, I got lured to an island after I saw a camping ad, and this island is really nice. It's called Misfit Toys, and it's owned by a raccoon who almost never leaves their house or sleeps. It's a person named Nook, which I was like, is this a cult? But he's kind of like the landowner here, and there's another woman named Felicia Day, and she seems like a recruiter. She seduced me with a bunch of wooden furniture, and then I decided, hey, I'll move here. I didn't understand the circumstances at all. So it's really creepy, y'all. This woman, Felicia Day, she's real friendly until she's not. She goes around just scooping every day. I don't know if she owns it or if she's leasing, but she just redecorates like 24/7. And yesterday she was literally standing over me with a shovel, just waiting for me to stop smelling a flower so she could dig it up. It's a problem. She's kind of a psychopath. All the other villagers warn me you just have to curry favor with her or she'll kick you out. So at first I was like, oh my God, I got to really, really suck up to this woman and give her gifts. And basically, you know what we have to do? We have to go up to her and teach her how to feel because she can't feel. She doesn't have feelings. I had to teach her how to feel joy, you guys. She's a psycho. And then I told her, listen, thanks for putting me on a farm that you continually come in and clean up all the time. I mean, I'm glad I don't have to do any work, but I need to go. Let me go. I want to see my mom. And she said no. She won't let me go, you guys. She said, you're staying here forever. And I had to go, oh, okay, great. Now that you like me, I really want to stay. But I don't want to. I don't want to stay here. And I can't fly out. The Dodo Mafia won't open the door. I mean, I start talking to Orville, and it's probably like an hour and a half before he'll even, and he just bores me to death. And I just turn around. I'm like, I guess I can't fly. He just talks so much. And then I see her, and I just want to see my family again. So what I'm doing lately is I'm flying around, making it look like I'm playing airplane. And she's like, Felicia Day's like, oh, isn't that cute? And then she goes to put a chair down or something, or like, cut my farm in half or something. And then, but really, I'm just playing airplane to work my arms out so I could just fly off this fucking island. Okay. Anyway, so I'm putting this note in a bottle for someone to find, and I'm inserting a recipe for a log chair too, because that's the only way to get anybody to do anything here, to give them stuff. Okay, open this jar and save me, please. Bye. I'm a cute little, please save me. Okay. So that was my Ketchup monologue, and I really hope that 5 people really enjoyed it. Okay. Questions. Oh, okay. Let's go to books. Books very quickly. God, I'm talking a lot. I wrote that at 2 a.m. because I was like on a napkin, and I was like, wow, this is a really funny idea. It didn't turn out as funny as I thought it would be. So I did read a book this week just because last week I felt so insulted and upset that I hadn't read enough books that I did read The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. And that was it's a really cool book, you guys. It's a nice, it's very much a la those old sort of 70s, 80s sort of fairy tales kind of things, but it's not a real fairy tale. It's very evocative. And the cool part of it, it's Russian literature. And the author is like 24 years old. She wasn't even a writer, and she just started writing a book, and she had studied Russian history for some reason. And it's a really cool book. And I realized, actually, looking over my book list that Sean Sandaluki so kindly compiled for me in the Wikia, that Slavic literature and Slavic background is very much popular right now. So Naomi Novik, who I love all her books, also has a very Slavic sort of flavor to her stuff. Lee Bardugo, who I love. Oh my God, I can't wait for her Netflix series to come out. All her stuff has a very sort of Slavic air to it. And Wicked Saints was the one that I was like, what is that book? I had to go to my Wikia it was another one. It's called by Emily Duncan. And I had read that I don't know if you guys read it after I suggested it. I suggest way too many books. But that one is a really great book, or a YA with this kind of Slavic, Lithuanian, Russian kind of flair. So it seems to be a popular genre, but this one is a real special book. And I do want to read the follow-up. I don't know if it's out yet. I think it is. So I'm going to pick up the second one in that series. I did read a little bit more Herodotus's histories, and I'm in book 6 of 9. And I'm 47% done with the book after 4 months. So it's not going fast, but every so often I'll get a quote that I think is kind of interesting. And he's so gossipy about, like, well, Pericles did this. And he didn't talk about Pericles because, well, Pericles was a real person, kind of, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, this is the quote of the week because I'm going to be reading it for another 4 months. So here's the quote of the week. Okay. Herodotus's histories. One day, what is more? Oh, we're talking about this guy named Periander, who is a tyrant of Greece. He basically was, they take over, and then they call everybody tyrants before the democratic kind of situation. So anyway, they're talking about Periander and say, one day, what is more, prompted by his wife Melissa, he had all the women in Corinth stripped naked. Periander, you see, had sent messengers to Thesprotia, to the oracle of the dead on the river Acheron, to inquire after some money deposited by a friend. Melissa had then materialized, I guess his wife is dead, and declared that she would neither reveal nor even hint at the location of the treasure. She was cold, she explained, and naked, since the clothes with which Periander had buried her, never having been burned, were of no use to her. And as proof that I am speaking the truth, she said, tell Periander this, he puts his loaves into an icy oven. The veiled allusion contained in this message it was reported back to Periander, did indeed convince him of its truth, the reason being that he had slept with Melissa's corpse. So I'm like, is this real? Or is this just Herodotus being a naggy little gossip? Because did he really sleep with his wife? Because then I looked up Periander in the Wikipedia and they said, oh, he was a really good ruler. I'm sorry, there's a lot of pounding. But it's going to be worth it one day, guys. Anyway, that's my Herodotus. It's about sex with corpses, okay? So there's some weird stuff in there, and I'm learning something, and then I glaze over for a while, and then I learn something. All right, so like I said, I'm going to pick up the next book in Catherine Arden's trilogy, not immediately, but because I was looking up Slavic-influenced fantasy, I want to pick up The Waning Moon duology by Lena Likitalo, which is... I found that in a sort of like, Slavic books kind of recommendations. And it looks like a really awesome sort of high fantasy. The covers are beautiful. And I'm going to pick that up. And I'm still reading that book, Goldilocks by Laura Lamb. It is about an all-female mission to another planet in the future sci-fi thing. And it's actually very good. So I'm still reading that. So those are the 2 books possibly on my list. I might get through one. I don't know. Anyway, for TV, I have very little to talk about. I've been streaming quite a bit. So all I can say is that I really want to watch Perry Mason and Warrior Nun. And I watched nothing. I don't even think I watched anything, to be honest with you. If I did, I was playing Animal Crossing at the time. And I forgot about it. Okay, questions. Yeah, questions. All right, I'm getting moister. Okay. Jim Furlong asks, I finally got an Instant Pot and I love it. Woo, yeah. No, I got nothing in there. Have you posted your favorite recipes? Big fan of the podcast. Well, Jim Furlong, I haven't posted them anywhere central, but Sean Sandy Looky Look does have a food and travel section. And I see that he's linked several recipes there. I will say that in general, the recipes that I use are from Melissa Blake's 2 Instant Pot recipe books, Comfort in an Instant and Dinner in an Instant. Or is it Dinner in an Instant? I don't know. Whatever Melissa Blake wrote. And then Smitten Kitchen. I usually get all my baked goods from there. And then the Kitchen blog, KITCHN blog. I get quite a few recipes there. And then I'll go like, oh, I want to do a mung bean stew recipe. And then there are a couple of like healthy blogs that I can't remember. But I will just let you know, guys, and this was actually on one of those British Best Home Cook things. They got mad at everybody for not making their own broth. And I agree. Make your own broth. It is so easy. And also when you're cutting a carcass in pieces, it's so satisfying. And it's quarantine. It's like your witch cauldron. Just put your stuff in there. And the Melissa Blake has an amazing recipe for it. I add more carrots. I add a little bit of other things from my garden and, all that stuff. But, tweak as necessary. But just make your own broth. You can make your rice with it. You can make soups with it. You can make gravies with it. You can make risotto with it. You can make stews and beans. I basically just make homemade broth, and then I make beans with the broth, and they taste so good. You don't have to have anything else with it except some cheese, because cheese is necessary. Okay, next question. Oh, wait, I actually did this. Look at that. I did a Chiron for this for the people who are watching. Nobody cares when they're listening to it. Sorry. Okay. Tanya T asked, do Cheesybeards shirts exist? Because Texas Z Guy 2169 and I need one in our lives. Well, Tanya, we do not have a Cheesybeards shirt yet. We did have Cheesybeards shirts a long time ago. And when I see one at a convention, I run to that person and give him a hug. Because to me, that's A, our best shirt we ever made. And B, just that means it's an old school guildie there. And that's like family to me. So I would love to do another Cheesybeards shirt. We have a Ye Old Cheesybeards tavern in the RPG. And I was thinking maybe we should re-up that. So for the 4 episode thingy that we're starting on July 26th, the RPG run, we're going to do 4 episodes. We have all 6 characters in pin form, and they're so cute, you guys. So we did the 1 pin for Black Girls Code. We'll definitely do another percentage of the pins for either Black Girls Code or another charity. But these will go also to support the cast while we're playing. But they're so nicely done. I'm so excited. All 6 characters. We've never done pins before, so I'm excited that. But now that you mentioned this, it would be cool to do a Ye Old Cheesybeards. It won't be the same as the old one because I don't want to duplicate what we did in the past. But it would be good to do that. So stands.org carries all of our stuff, and I really appreciate all of it. Okay. Classically Geek asks, there's about 3 more questions, and I'm going to shut up, you guys. It's hard because this is the thing about streaming and recording the podcast. Like, I would be okay with a 25-minute podcast, but then with streaming, you kind of want to maybe record for like an hour, but I'm not going to get there because I can't talk that long. Also, I'm losing my voice. Classically Geek asks, I recently tuned into your Twitch streams and it looks amazing. What's your setup? Everyone should look so polished online. Well, you guys, it's pretty great. I mean, I love being in a Zoom call and looking better than everybody else. And, this is what delights me, being ahead of the curve. And I know that everyone's going to catch up and everyone's going to have beautiful, lighting and cameras and all that stuff soon enough. But just being ahead of other Hollywood people makes me so happy. So I want to give a shout out to Harris. There's a streamer called Harris. What's it? I can't remember. He specializes in Twitch sort of technology. And he helped me pick out this gear. So I have a Sony a6000, and Classically Geek also says that I know that Elgato helped you with some loot. You look so polished. Everyone should look so polished online. I said that line again because it's really appropriate. So I got an a6000 Sony, and then I got a Sigma 1.4 16mm lens, which is the widest lens you could put on a camera like this. It's a static lens, so it doesn't move, but it's a really nice, and it gives this beautiful bokeh effect, which I swear 6 or 7 people have picked all of this equipment up after Zoom calls I have them with them. And I have a tripod. Elgato did send me an amazing amount of stuff. You can't even order it now because it's all sold out. So I have an air light, and I have a cam link, and I have a stream deck and a green screen that I haven't set up yet. I'm going to do it in the new office. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and what are those arms? I have a Blue Yeti mic if you guys care, but I would recommend getting a hype mic if you're going to get a mic, because the hype mic doesn't do compression. And I had to buy a separate mic for my voiceover because the hype mic allows you to choose whether to compress or not, which the Blue Yeti is made for podcasting and it automatically compresses. which is probably best for streaming anyway, and it's cheaper. So anyway, you also had to have a dummy battery and a micro HDMI to HDMI cable, which I forgot about and had to wait 3 days for, and it really pissed me off. So thank you for asking. I feel very good, and I feel, again, self-righteous. And I realized that I have more joy in creating tech stuff than I do in anything else. That's why I really want a Raspberry Pi. Terry asks on Discord, and guys, please send your hashtag felicitations questions on Twitter. So Sean Sandy Looky Look, again, culls all the questions and puts them in a spreadsheet for me, because I really wouldn't be able to catch up with it. I would not be able to do the podcast without Sean. And I just want to appreciate him as a mod and as a person. So Terry asks, I'm wondering if there's some kind of games that, for example, you would discourage your daughter from playing. What of the elements that make a game harder to fit into a healthy lifestyle? Thank you. Well, she's 3, so like shooters are out. But, you know, I know that's weird to say that, but I've met people who have shown their 3-year-old Supernatural, and they play Call of Duty with their 4-year-old. And I'm like, I want to allow everyone to parent in the way, but I think maybe age appropriateness is super important, because I even worry about showing her Animal Crossing, because they don't really have a reality and a not reality filter. So when they watch something, they believe it's real. And that's problematic when you're showing them violence, when you're teaching them to be ignored by using guns. I would highly recommend maybe not doing that with your child, showing them things with guns. You know, like there are certain things that I don't want to make her comfortable with, and I don't want to expose her to. Like, I don't even want to show her Lion King or Bambi because the parents die. And so, yeah, it concerns me. It concerns me that people, you know, I understand parenting is so hard, but when you look at the stuff on YouTube that people just let their kid, and I don't think it's like conscious even. It's just the algorithm shows them things that are just not good for their brains and not teaching them the right values. And we have to be super vigilant, but sometimes we just can't, because we just have to get our work done, especially right now when people who can't afford in-home childcare and their schools are closed. So I sympathize with everybody, but you know, PBS Kids and Amazon Prime, I think, are better than just putting some, you know, YouTube has to be really, really policed. And the same thing with video games. So, but at the same time, I feel like Pokemon Snap, like us going into a game and taking pictures of animals, she's going to love it. So I'm so excited about that. Animal Crossing, she's learning so many dinosaur names and fish names. So I feel like a lot of people look at me and are really pretty judgmental about, oh, you let your kid play video games. So I'm like, I hold the controller. We play 30 minutes a day, and we do things that are teaching her nature. And I'm like, I feel totally justified. Anyway, next question, Richard Gagnon, who is always very good at sending questions. And thank you, Richard. With churches getting exceptions from COVID-19 lockdowns, do you recall whether people during the Black Plague practiced social distancing or stopped church attendance? One thing I learned is that the population lost health workers. Okay, very interesting question. I, as you guys know, have read, and I went through a real jag of like reading 15 books on the Black Plague. I've been talking 51 minutes. Okay. So this is actually, I need to wrap it up. We only have one other question. So they did not, in fact, because you have to remember, doctors knew nothing. They knew nothing about the cause of diseases. They had no anesthetic until the 19th century. So people would get mastectomies and tumors cut out of them, and gangrene, and have their limbs cut off, you know, amputated for without any kind, just a little rum, a little bit of alcohol. So, and people would die of shock and of the pain more than, you know, as much as, you know, the solution was often worse than the actual treatment. So they had no idea how to treat it, and they had no technology to be able to know how it. So everyone thought, and also, can you imagine? You couldn't be publicly against any, you know, you couldn't be people like the Protestants and the Catholics, they were murdered. I mean, if you read of what happened during the French Revolution it's horrible. It's horrible. People massacred people all the time. Like, we have no concept of what it was like to live back then, because it was so easy to die. So death was sort of natural to them, and violence was natural because you would see, you know, so much more. So anyway, they only thought that God would deliver them from this evil. So they would congregate even more in churches. So, and I read that, you know, that probably helped because it was basically transmitted through coughing or whatever. Now, granted, that was like an 80% death rate, 50 to 80% death rate. Even like the second and third waves of that would be 20 to 30% death rate. So it was insane compared to this. And I think that if you saw 1 out of 5 or 3 out of 4 people that you know die from the plague, I think that maybe, I mean, humanity could have been wiped out totally. So anyway, I have a list of Black Plague books that I've read, and I can't remember them right now, but look at my wiki. Okay. Last question, because I am really up to 53 minutes right now. This is really long. And I want some feedback, you guys. If you are only podcast listeners, please let me know on Twitter. Did you find this to be distracting? Did you like the longer podcast? Did you like the shorter one? Because the podcast really is the key for me. I can always just do an hour, some Q&A afterwards. But I would really like to know from the podcast how the experience of being broadcasting live is, how the length is, what you like more of. I really want your feedback, because the podcast is really just a side thing for me. But doing it live is actually kind of brings my audiences together, and I think it's kind of cool. But I would love feedback about length, because I can adjust that very easily. All right, last question. Crystal Keppel asks, you mentioned issues with your voice related to your thyroid. How are you able to keep your voice going through audiobooks and voice acting? I'm pretty sure I have thyroid issues, but insurance won't do follow-up tests after the first was negative. Well, Crystal, I'm really sorry that you are experiencing this kind of stuff. I don't know if you have hyperthyroid or hypothyroid. Hyper makes you have heart palpitations. It also makes you super much thinner, high strung. Hypo is what I had for a while, and it was totally stress related. I think Oprah said that she burnt her thyroid out from stress, and I think I did too. That was Geek and Sundry days, like the height of them. And I couldn't lose weight. I was slow thinking. I also had a lot of other issues. And so I was on thyroid hormone, and through my pregnancy, because my thyroid was, very iffy. But then my thyroid kind of adjusted itself afterwards, and I was on too much thyroid hormone. So I did get heart palpitations, and that was kind of the reason why I suffered a lot. So I would be on top of it, and I would also go, I don't know what your symptoms are, and I'm not a doctor. So I would just go and be like, hey, doctor, if you're saying it's not thyroid, what is going on with me? I found I had a really low B12 level, and it was super bad for memory and energy, and iron levels. So I would ask them for a blood panel to check for your vitamin B, your iron, your calcium, really describe the symptoms you're having, and be like, there's something, this is not in my head. I will say that stress, I have to tell you, quarantine and de-stressing has been just a miracle for me. And I know that a lot of the things like acid reflux, so basically a lot of my voice things were acid reflux related. And yes, if I eat a couple certain things, it is very bad. But at the same time, a lot of that acid reflux has gone away because I'm not as anxious. So anyway, as always, go see a doctor and demand, and don't suffer. Dr. WebMD is not the best, but at the same time, sometimes people ignore you for things that are plague you, and then you suffer for years not knowing that you could get help. So anyway, okay. So the next podcast will be July 23rd, and I will probably try to live stream it again. Again, love your feedback. Go to the Discord, Felicia Adventures channel, if you'd like to give me feedback there, or on Twitter. And always #Felicitations. So thank you very much, you guys. Felicitations.fandom.com is our wikia, and discord.gg/FeliciaDay is that. So anyway, see you later. I hear a child screaming. Bye. I'm ending the broadcast now. Yay.